Hello, it's great to be here. I want to only talk for a short time about the Homeless World Cup. It's been a fantastic conference. I've really enjoyed the time I've been here. Like said to me about 6 years ago I should blog, and it's taken me to this year to start blogging. So now I know what it's really all about, having been at this conference. So I basically want to tell you a little story in the next 10 minutes. First of all, the bad news. The bad news is that poverty increases in the world, homelessness increases, 100 million people on the streets, or 1 billion people homeless according to the United Nations, 3 million people on the streets of the United States, richest country in the world, and that's just not sustainable for our planet. You can talk about environmental sustainability, but social sustainability and human sustainability is vital as well. So I'm going to tell you a little story, which is the good news, which is about the Homeless World Cup. We came up with this idea in 2001 and had the first event in 2003. And very simply, what happens is, in countries around the world, our national partners go into the streets and talk to homeless people and say, would you like to play football? And it's very simple to do because all it is a round ball. And we get them involved in playing games. And some of the players who come along are not very good, some are terrible, some are wonderful, but we get them playing. And it's better than lying around in the streets. And then as a result of that, their fitness improves, their self-esteem and self-respect improves. And then once a year, we have an annual tournament when we bring the best players to the event. So we had the first one in 2003 in Graz in Austria, and we didn't really know what was going to happen at this event. And we play street soccer. So we go to the middle of a city, in the middle of the square, and we play street soccer, which is 8 players on a team, 4 on, 4 off, so a little bit like ice hockey. 7 minutes each way. To play it properly, you have to be very fit. It's very physical game. The players involved are getting engaged in the football. It's very, very exciting. You get goals going in with 10 seconds to go. So when we got to Graz in Austria, we didn't really know what was going to happen. We thought it would be a success because we believed in the power of sport, in particular the power of football to change lives, but we didn't know what was going to happen. And we had 3 amazing things happened in terms of change. First of all, the players changed out of all recognition. So before, they are looking down, they have no confidence, no self-esteem, and now they are standing up much, much taller. You could actually see them in Graz actually growing during the week event that we have. And they became heroes for the people who are watching. The players are signing autographs. So there was a major change in the players. And the second change was in the people who came to watch. So in these stands in the arena that we created were full all the time of people. And all these people are applauding the homeless people. And only the week before, or the days before, they'd have walked past these people in the streets, avoided them completely. They certainly wouldn't have let their children near them. And a week later, here are their children, and the players are signing autographs for them. So what had happened was a complete change, destruction of a stereotype. Complete destruction of a stereotype. It's exactly the same player who only a week, or same person a week before was lying in the streets, is now actually playing football. All he's done is a new arena, and he's playing in a different uniform to the one he was playing in before. So a major change amongst the people who came, and they're all cheering. And in fact, the stands in Graz were so full, we had to bring in screens so that people could watch on the outside, because we were frightened the stands were going to fall down with so many people on them. So major change in the people who are watching, and I always say that if you ever come along and watch, you'll never look at the homeless person in the same way again when you pass them in the street. And the third change was the media. The world's media turned up. We had no idea or belief that so many people from the world's media turned up. So banks of television cameras arrived by the final day in Graz. So it was a huge success for us because the media normally portray homeless people as negative, and we had a 100% return in terms of being positive coverage from the media at the event. So after the event, we said this has been a huge success, but we wanted to know what had happened to the players. And so we did some research, and we found that the huge majority of them, nearly 80% of them, changed their lives forever. So we got jobs, came off drugs and alcohol, got into housing, went to college, did training. And these figures were so good I didn't believe them. I said, this can't possibly be right. 80% is too much. So we checked it again, and we came out the same figure. And we checked it again, and it came out the same figure. So we were convinced that these figures were correct. So huge numbers were changing their lives as a result of just kicking a football around. And so we did it every year now. So next year in Gothenburg, we now had 26 teams. In Graz, there were 18 teams. Now we went to Gothenburg in Sweden. There's 26 teams participating. In 2005, we were in Edinburgh, where I come from, and there's 32 teams participating now. Lots more players getting involved, and still the same, 80%, nearly 80% of the players changing are projects in different countries in the world, actually engaging more homeless people on the streets every day. In 2000, and this is a picture of some of the Argentinian players signing autographs, which has now become a theme of our events. Then we were in Cape Town in 2006. Now there's 48 teams involved, many more from Africa. And those of you who know Cape Town, this is the main square in Cape Town. Just behind there in the pictures where Mandela made his famous speech. And just before this picture was taken, the homeless players had done a parade through the streets of Cape Town, and the president of South Africa had stood on that balcony and saluted the homeless players. So can you imagine, from this idea we had in 2001, a president of one of the major countries in the world is saluting all the homeless people from 48 countries in the world. And these players are standing like really proud. When they're singing the national anthem, they are behaving much better than professional sports people. They are fantastic ambassadors for their country. This is the opening game there, and those are the football. Eusebio is there. He comes down, one of the greatest footballers in the world. He's come down to the event. So we're growing, and we're having more impact. And Desmond Tutu came, and he supposed to do a little talk for 2 minutes, and a bit like running this conference, he was 20 minutes on the pitch talking and inspiring everybody, and it was great to see him here. So more people are starting, personalities and celebrities coming to support us. In Copenhagen now we are still at 48 countries, but this is a picture of the great feeling amongst the teams. It's what sport should be about. They can't speak the same language, but they understand football, and they come together in the way that this picture shows. Fantastic spirit and atmosphere, which rubs off on the people who are watching. Then this is a special picture from 2007, because I'm Scottish, and Scotland won the World Cup, and so this is a picture I always treasure, because people will say Scotland will never win the World Cup, but I can say I've actually seen them win the World Cup. Then in 2008, we were in Melbourne, Australia, and now we have 56 teams participating, and as you can see, these are the final days, and the huge crowds now attending to watch the match. We had the first Women's World Cup there, and this is the winning Zambian team. And then we had a very special final, because sport sometimes conspires that way. The final two teams in Melbourne were Afghanistan and Russia. And it was a very, very close game. And Russia had a chance to equalize with 10 seconds to go, but missed. And Afghanistan won the Homeless World Cup. And I promise you, there's never been, it was just totally emotional. And the manager of the Afghanistan team did a little speech afterwards, and he said, for 30 years, all has been darkness in Afghanistan. This is the first time a light went on. And so there wasn't a dry eye in the house at that point. In 2009, we were in Milano, and Lewis Hamilton and some other personalities and footballers came down to support, and Ukraine won in 2009. This year, we were in Rio on Copacabana Beach, and Brazil won the cup this time. They have a brilliant team, and in the Women's World Cup, Brazil won that as well. So it was very good. We always continuing the same impact. We now have around 50,000 players in the national partners playing all the year round. But we built a community center with our partners on the outskirts of Rio in a place called Santa Cruz, which will be there, learning education center through sport. And we also hope to have a recycling business we're starting, a social business we're starting in Sao Paulo, which will create jobs for homeless people. Next year, 2011, we'll be in this city, and we will play by the Eiffel Tower. And we hope there will be 64 countries participating. It's impact all the time that concerns us. We're across many, many countries now in the world. Underneath our events, not just our week event is the pinnacle or the top of the iceberg, if you like. Each year there's lots of work going on in each country in the other 51 weeks of the year. This is Dutch, the Holland one, where they have events in their own cities, little mini competitions, arriving at a national Dutch competition. This happens all over the world. In Mexico, where I was just before the World Cup, they've recently really grown, and they had created 990 street soccer teams. They had 6,400 homeless people involved across 32 states in Mexico, culminating in an event in Mexico City. The impact in that country is massive, and that was because they made a connection with a corporation called Telmex. And Telmex had our annual event where they presented the team that was going down to Rio in front of 10,000 people. And this really impressive ex-homeless young Mexican woman stood up and said, my life has been really bad on the streets, but I want to change my life. And I promise myself, I will not let myself down. I will not let Mexico down. I give you this absolute promise. And so we watched her in Mexico, and she didn't. And as a total ambassador for youth, for somebody who's come from a difficult background, she was absolutely brilliant. To speak in front of 10,000 people when you're that age is not easy, I don't think. So then these are the pictures of other events that are going. They're not all about rich countries, and this is one in Kenya. This is the place that they play in Kenya, in Kibera slum, which they call the San Siro. They're very proud of this place. And we try to support all our projects as much as possible. They come up with ideas like social business, where they want to bring their people in. They have come up with this idea where they want to create meadows and other things for our event and for other people. And so we're very keen on that because it's about creating jobs. Obviously, around this, I have many anecdotal stories about the players. It's not about the numbers. I think we're up at around 40 to 50,000 players now. And there are many, many human interest stories to tell. Some of our players, believe it or not, have actually been signed by professional football teams. It's not the norm. One who's our ambassador now, one of the women, plays for a professional football team in Brazil, and then has come back as our ambassador. Many of our people come back as our coaches after they've been through the experience. We only allow them to come to the event once a year because it should be the end of the process. Then they come back and act as coaches and ambassadors for others. So it's a question of making impact and bringing other people on. So all the time behind what we do, behind this one thing which is just a round ball, many, many things are happening all over the world, and it continues to grow. These are the medals they make. These are women who've come from a refugee camp in Uganda, and they've got together through football. We put them through a coaching course. They're now all coaches, so they're coaching people in their community, building a community there in Uganda. And then on the back of that, we're just going to start with them, which hopefully will be a successful social enterprise around chicken farming. So there they are. So it's about impact. We can make a real impact through sport. We've proved that, and we intend to do more of that. Please come to the Homeless World Cup in Paris if you're from France here. It's in the last week of August by the Eiffel Tower. I promise you, you'll have a fantastic time. It's free to come. It will be a special experience for you. I probably would like to end this to this audience. We make an impact in terms of what we do, but we can't do everything. 1 billion people homeless is an astonishing figure. It's like mind-numbing. I actually believe, and hopefully I've proved, if we all do something, then we can create the change. And in amongst this audience, you are amazing entrepreneurs. You are similar to me, people said to me I had them crazy idea with a colleague when I started this in 2001. People say to many of you here, well, it's a crazy idea that you have, and look what you've made. In the conversations this morning, you heard people talking about how many millions their companies were worth and what they could sell. And so I think as human beings, we are ingenious. We have an ability to create many things. And the genius around what's been created on the internet and through the web and all the ideas that have been around this conference are amazing. Can you imagine, look 20 years backwards and what's happened with the web, how we've created this connectivity, how we've created all of this, how people have become millionaires, how people's lives have been changed through the web. So I say, if we can do that, if you can do that, why do we have homeless people? Why do we have homeless people on the street? Any conference I go to, I say, anybody think homeless is a good idea? Anybody? So I've never, in all the years I've spoken, anybody said it was a good idea. So why do we have it? And I've proved just by having a football, we've impacted in people's lives through using a football. It's really simple. And I think we could end homelessness if we all put our minds to it. So I would like you to come together at some point with me. You can email me at my address or speak to me afterwards. I'm around the rest of the conference if you have some ideas, however crazy. We'd love to connect with you. This is our website. My email is mel@homelessworldcup. We have to change the world. It's not just about it's a question of being nice because we don't want people to be homeless. It's an imperative for us all because I promise you, having homelessness and poverty at this level means we will not have a sustainable world. So it's in all of our interests, if nothing else, to end homelessness and poverty in this world. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope you enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks a lot.
You rock. We need more of you in the world. Mel, you're so in Paris, you said. Next year, right?
Next year in August in 2011 by the Eiffel Tower, yeah.
We'll be there. We'll be there. Thank you very much, Mel.
Great to see you there. Thank you for inviting me along.
Thank you.